in my groove. So now we should have the edit tool available here. It's our to-do list here. So go now. Double audio. It won't let me mute the audio before it starts, which is ridiculous. All right, here we go. So I think before we do anything else, I wanna get a second tool going. So I have two tools and I can feel out how things work. And then I can make the code more reusable more easily and so on. So let's just collapse this a little. So I think the second tool we're going to work on is the section for arrows, for lines. Sorry, do we do lines first? Yeah, lines. I think lines and arrows. I'm just gonna treat arrows as lines with arrowheads basically. So let's see the UI. We have this handle cage add. Handle tool button, handle section change, handle remove. So I think that similar to how I made an item for the cage, we're gonna make an edit section object here. Editor section. We'll also put in a nice closure so it's all neat and tidy. And then we kind of clone some of the stuff here. Let's call it an S here. Section. S for section. Just for internal reference. All right. So when we're entering the tool, is this when we're setting things up? All right. So we'll just have something like we'll create a section. Let cage section equals new editor section. I'm just realizing I don't really want to do object-oriented programming here, right? Oh, it's just overkill. We're in JavaScript. So I think instead of editable cage, we're gonna make section pages, right? And then that's what's gonna go in here. So section basic, section pages, children. Just trying to get my head around here. So this is the sections. These are the sections, right? Dataset, class, children. All right. So we'll do something like p.get UI. All right. And that's we're just basically going to return this thing here. And then we'll do something like p.handleCageAdd function. Just so we have a quick idea if everything gets called in the right places. And then we'll have a bind and there's this. Right? And we probably want to do this. Section cages, right? And then we can replace this with cage section dot get UI element. Cages. Okay, so now this button hooks up to that thing and no longer to this handler. Handle cage add. So we're going to do that. And then get some of this stuff down here. And we probably need to pass in puzzle data. I don't think the tool itself has anything of value for us. Maybe the current thing, but maybe that should move in here. So this dot puzzle data plus dot puzzle data. So here we're going to pass in puzzle data. This dot puzzle data. All right. And let's go to Tokyo. $195. Those were the wrong characters. Okay, handle cage add. So we'll do the same thing. All right, let's see, update cage UI. Cages, puzzle data cage, current cage, cages element. So I think this should also transfer pretty cleanly. Update UI. All right. And everything breaks. Update UI. What breaks? And we have no error handling. All right. I'm guessing that's getting called somewhere. Change section. Okay. So we'll probably do something like this. Dot sections. 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 This dot sections. Dot ages equals page section. And then we can do, and we actually, you know, let's use the full straight up label. And then we can do, instead of this, we can do dot update UI. Huh. Doesn't like that. Doesn't like that either. Does it like that? Doesn't like that either. Okay. Sections needed. What if we don't make it dependent on this at all? So the idea being is that if it's undefined, we know to initialize it, right? And then we get rid of this altogether. All right, sections. Get rid of this. Okay, that works. That works. And we have sections here. Sections.cages. Okay. And then this one we can do object.keys. That gets us the section labels. Pages. Okay. Now, we obviously have to clean up some other things here. All right, and then this we can obviously automate the same way. Don't know. Yeah, okay. So that would all come out of that. Now if I press this, it does update UI. Okay, and now in update UI, current cage would then be held in here. All right. All right, and cages. And cages would come out of what's the data? Right, and current cage isn't actually used here anyways. Okay, that's a good start. So now all that stuff also needs to go up there. So now this is no longer used. Handle cage change value. So these need to come out of here. Section change stays in here. Change section, this section. All right. So all the cage related stuff comes out of here and goes into. Okay. I think I need to instantiate this here. So let section equals framework create element. So we create the element and then we hand back what we've just created, basically. So we do this. And then this has these children, right? And then we return this. The problem is this element at this point will not be part of the DOM yet. So I'm not sure if I can attach event listeners yet. I might be able to. Let's see. I just might have to do it slightly differently. So can I do query selector on the element? Or do I have to do that on the document? I think I can. So let's try that. Oops. So document, we'll do this. And then if I go here, Well, okay, these handlers don't exist, so that might be a problem. Let's get rid of these. Or let's deprecate them, like I tend to do. Alright. Okay, but it means we're getting to the right handlers at least. All right. So we do need puzzle data. All this other stuff. Don't know if that applies here. This one doesn't apply. This one doesn't apply. And then we need puzzle from framework.app in this case. Let's just minimize all this rubbish. Don't think we use any of this other stuff. Handle cage change. Okay. And value change obviously is going to be broken. So this wants to, yeah, so now we need to track a current cage. This dot current cage find. So wherever we're assigning a current cage, which I guess happens here. So this dot current cage equals cage. And then cage equals this dot current cage. Render cage is not a function. Yeah, okay, so render cage is the next one that needs to move. Now this one's going to be a bit trickier because it's getting called by all these other handlers. So I have to make the decision if I want to move all the handlers in here or just have sort of some generic pass-through from the base object into these handlers. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. This dot render cage, yeah, so that happens because of these guys. We'll handle these in a minute. All right, render cages is not a function. 174. So is that? Oh, I see. Render cages, edit cage values. Cage value. Yeah, we probably want to do this slightly differently. More generically, if you know what I mean. So that's not dependent on a particular tool, and the other tools can do their own thing. Active element. So if I'm here and then I type active element is button. If I click here, I'm going to select element. So this is the sort of thing I worry about. If I've selected this, would the user expect to be able to type here after clicking here? I don't know, but for now we're just gonna say active element. Is it tag name? Yeah. So if element dot tag name equals input return true. For now. We might have to adjust this later. Right, create a cage, type this in. Handle cage value change. So, handle cage value change. We have a current cage, I believe. Cage is undefined. So after pressing this, handle cage add. So handle cage add. Handle cage add should do this. Here's like other cages. Handle cage change. All right. Handle to a button, section handle cage value. So cage editable cage, cage.value, blah, 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 render cages true. And render cages, render cages doesn't do anything yet, okay. Okay, so far, all of this should just work. All right, actually we can probably just do it this way. All right, I think all the rest is basically independent of the base object. Okay, so this doesn't update correctly yet because we're not handling cage change correctly here. So okay. All right. So what we're obviously not handling right now is all the select stuff. So we basically have to decide here if we have a generic render method. So I don't think I can apply to these handlers from inside the cage thing, right? This is per tool. Now I could replicate all of these handle input down, up, move. We could also do kind of a generic handle input type thing. So what if I do something like handle input? Right, and then we'll go here. This dot sections object dot values. So sections dot for each section. Let's not start with this one. If section, if type of section dot handle input function, we'll just call it basically. If I do this in all of these, I think it'll come through. Okay. And then here we'll just do it in a one timeout, not a million timeouts. And we probably want to put this whole thing into some sort of function that we can then call. And then render cages. So render cages is up here as render cages. All right. Okay. Oops. Okay, so here it does not correctly intercept these. Let's see if we can fix that. Does it not get the correct focus? Is that really it? Was that what was doing it? Yep, looks like. Oh. All right. Sweet. Let's stop this spammage. So probably what we'll do is we'll have a render section function. And it'll basically do this. And change section, current section, Ichi. Okay, so let section, right. Basically only have to render the current section, I think. I have to go through all of them. So then instead of these guys, I can do something like this dot render a section. If I don't already have a render section. Somehow that sounds familiar. Alright, doesn't look like it. Alright, render section. And section is undefined. So change section. Render section, change section, this dot section. Wait a second. Does this not hit change section? Cages, cages. And then render section. Misspelled. Cages. All right. So then we can do that section equals this dot sections, this dot section. And then if section, or if section and type of section, section handle input. Wait, render section and handle input are two different things. In fact, handle input just calls render cages. So what if we change this to render? We get rid of this. dot render cages, change this to render. And what do we get? Render section. Render section. All right. I'm an idiot. I just changed it. All right. All right. That seems pretty okay for now. There might be some messiness down the line. All right, input, blah, blah, blah. Then we just call this the render section. All right. And then we don't need the handle input up here. We need to do something with input. We can do it in the update things. All right. Render section renders is kind of spammy, and render section is also super spammy. So these are all sorted. Change section. Update UI. Update cage UI. We'll have to sort this out in a moment. But we've ripped a lot of this stuff out of here. What was this for? The get UI stuff. Okay, don't need that anymore. That works. Got the render working. Change values working. That's working, so we can silence these. Oh, don't need that. Right, and then dot current dot these. I think these are all no longer necessary at all. Right. This is now elsewhere. This is no longer needed. Right. Here we go. So now we just do the same thing for lines, and then once we see any kind of shared code, we can push that somewhere else into prototype, whatever, right? Section lines, section lines, and section lines. Take UI, and we'll change cage. So then we can even change the terminology a little bit, you know, make it less, make it so I don't have to, that they're more similar to each other, right? So, handle tool, enter. So instead of these, well, this one already works. And then we'll do this map section. Do we need, nope. We'll just do this, right? All right, and now if I create another section, in fact, don't think this is being used anymore. So we can get rid of that. And we can just do this. Okay, so I think this is because the lines UI returns currently the same as the cage UI. So we get a duplication there. Get UI element. All right. So instead of this, we're going to call it lines, tool section children. Something like that. Interesting. New section cages, did I not? Why does it run new section cages twice? 275, 276. Well, this clearly says section lines. And this one clearly says section cages. Is there some kind of crosstalk? Section cages equals section lines equals. Section lines and section cages should be distinct. This is bizarre. New section cages, new. What? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. All right. All right, we have cages, and we have lines. Cages, lines. Sweet. So that goes all goes away. And now lines. Maybe we'll change this to components instead of editor cages. Find editor dash cages. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, let's change it here first. Because obviously this is an ID. So probably can change this to a class. Add, class, add. Class, components. Components. Class, handle add. Handle cage add. Add section lines. And then, well, this comes later. Line section. All right. And then here, well, so editor section element. Components. Handle component change. Right? And bada bing, bada boom. And and this is not part of this. Actually, I'm gonna delete this. So here we put whatever other editing elements we need for this section. And then it blows up. I hate it. I'm in that closure somewhere and I'm swallowing the error when these are being created, which is a bit annoying. All right, it was because I changed it last. I didn't update that. Selector, all right. Oh, we don't need that. Section lines, handle add, fine. All right, so handle add, editable cage. And now we're gonna create an editable line. Editable line. All right. And this probably won't be, I'll take this out of puzzle data, and each of these components can track their own stuff. Can read property of undefined reading push. Data. All right, so actually let's do this now. This dot lines, boom. And we can say lines, right? All right, and then update UI. Editor cages. So this is now, that's now been changed to data, no, data section equals lines dot components, right? That should get me the right. Nope. Yeah. All right. So components, create element parent. Lines. Now, I can almost change this. So I can say this dot name equals lines, right? And I can change this to being this dot name, because this way I can later on, you know, reuse the same code for cages and lines, right? And instead of lines, I can say components, right? So components equals there, components dot each component, and then component dot toString, and then parent is components element. So basically, this is now completely independent of the fact that we're in the lines object here. If I can get it to work. Components for each components. Ah, yes, no, there's no lines, so components. All right. This dot component class equals itable line. So this is also independent now of being lines for cells, right? All right. And if I go to lines and handle component change, it doesn't actually do much yet. All right, this is a pretty decent start. So I think I want to retrofit the section now the same way, right? So after bind handlers, we have cages, components, puzzle data we might not even need anymore now. A component class is editable cage, right? Current cage, we can change to current. This was selected component. Right. Go back to cages and get it all working again. So, handle cage add. We're going to change this to handle add. This is going to be handle cage, handle add. Let me just check, compare. Handle add. Add content to section children, changing this to components class, and then we're changing this to that. All right. Handle cage change, handle component change, cage change. Right, handle component change. We're not actually doing that right now. That's fine. All right, handle add. So handle add should now kind of work like this, right? Handle add. Handle add. So components class, components that push, component class. This dot update UI. So that should get us to here. Right? Handle add. Text handle add. Cannot set section cages update UI. Wait, did I change that here as well? I think so. So components, so that's also super generic now. Okay. Update UI. We have update UI. That should be working. Then we have handle add, handle update UI. So handle add, done the push. And now we need to do this, right? So cages element, components element, components element. All right. Handle component change. right? Line 110. So, don't need that. Puzzle data, cages, editor cages dot value. All right, so let's see. Components element 0. Okay. So components element dot value, components, component. So that should get us the line slash cage, a universal generic fashion, and canary property undefined reading 0 components, like that, not cages. All right, then, and that's now here where it gets a bit different. So this is what we do for pages only. And this is sort of where I'm now figuring out this, where something would be part of a class versus cages not defined. Where something would be part of a class versus the instance, right? Okay. So, current cage. So this wouldn't be current cage anymore. This would now be called selected component. Handle component change. Wait a second. Handle component change. Yeah, okay, so that's also not handled yet. Handle component change. So this not selected component. Puzzle data cages, query selected editor cages value. So I think we're doing the same thing we did here-ish. We were just dereferencing this thing. Once element length. Am I looking at the wrong? I'm looking at the wrong thing, aren't I? That's the sort of thing I'm scared of. I have two things that are very similar, but I'll be looking at the wrong thing. Ah, wait, so components change is already sorted here. Except we're not actually editor cages value, handle cage change, current cage. Yeah, we're not setting that. So if handle component change, if component all right. All right. Plus. Selected component is undefined. That shouldn't be the case. right, now we have a selected component. And what was I worrying about? Update UI and render. So in render now we have all this stuff. So we no longer have a current cage. In fact, I think that's where I left off in lines. I'd just been updating the render function to be more generic. Cage. All right, I have not updated this yet. Okay. So. What if I do this? I mean, this is going to be fairly custom to the thing. I'm trying to get my head around where it is doing all section cages render. Why am I'm in the wrong place again? I'm in the wrong place again. Wrong place again. Damn it. Ah. Cage is undefined. Current component is undefined. Components, current component. Current component is never assigned. Did I do that again in the wrong place? This is supposed to be, oh my god. I'm constantly working in the wrong area. Wait, no. Oh my god. I'm going crazy. I might have just put these in different files just to stop confusing myself. So, handle component change. So, if I refresh this, right? And I'm in the wrong place. If I refresh this. So, wait. Clear. So we're handling component change. Selected component is an editable cage. Selected component is an editable cage. Then we're getting to render. And this is current component for some reason. Okay. So, selected component. I do one selection. Here we go. Render. Selected cells, editable cage, area zeros, cage.cells, nothing. So, they should not be the same. Cages element. This is not going to work. That's going to be components element. Right, we have a components element, and it doesn't want to let me set text content on pages. Yeah, so this is not a thing anymore. So wherever I'm using cages, it should actually be components. Okay. Panel cage value change. This dot current cage, this dot select component. So add a couple, draw them in, give them a value, draw a new value, switch between them, try to type in different numbers so I can actually see if it works. All right, that's actually not bad. All right, not as clean as I would like. We can get rid of reference to puzzle data. I think puzzle data is now not used anymore. This is no longer needed. Data. Component change in section lines. Nope. Render section lines. Nope. 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 And nope. All right. Yeah, because I've been making a mess of things down here. All right. Boom. All right. Go here. Oops. Oh. All right, so this is not done correctly. Yeah, so that's a problem right now, is because I'm recreating those objects, which I shouldn't do. So these things should happen on init only. And then I can do or object.keys. Keys, this dot sections 0. Okay. Clear. Handle tool, enter. Section cages dot render. I think the UI gets getting recreated, but it's not getting filled in correctly. I think we're missing a call to update UI somewhere. Deep. All right. So I think the components already exist. Update UI is not getting called. Update UI used to be getting called. Is get UI element getting called? It should be, right? I do this, and I go here. I come clear, and I come back. So we're calling get UI elements. Section cages, get UI element. Section lines, get UI element. Two letters to change sections, cages to cages, section cages render. Now section cages update UI isn't getting called, and that's definitely a mistake. Handle add update UI. Change section. Okay, so then change section. So then that section, and then we can do section dot update UI. Here we go. So adding some cages, go somewhere else, come back, edit the cages, make this a, yeah, It's going to be an A cage, and that's going to be a 22 cage. Then we go away and select things all we want. Then we come back. Yeah, that's some stuff I need to clean up. I think we need to handle tool enter. We need to basically erase any selection. So handle tool enter. Before we do anything else, we're gonna do something like find deselect. Alright, it says framework adapter puzzle. Framework.app.puzzle. Something like that. I go somewhere else and come back. Ugh. Seriously, you're gonna do me like that? So I go away. I change the selection. I come back. It deselects, and the deselection updates the cage. So the other alternative would be, there's two options. Don't select the cage and change the selection to match the current cage. That's the other option, right? So we don't have to have a cage selected, I guess. The hand tool enter, change section. So change section gets called from 327. No, wait, change section is fine. So it's not the handle tool, the change section that does it. It's the handle component change. We probably want to have like a call for init, so we can deselect the selected component basically. Although we do kind of want to persist selected components. We just, yeah. I don't think it's something I should solve right now because it's probably going to change how that works. Like ultimately I might not want to use the selection directly like this for editing the thing. Like I might have to have a toggle here, edit cage. Like right now there's no way of deselecting the cage. All right. Now for lines, we can create the lines, we just can't draw them yet. And that's the other thing, right? So now the lines, we want a tool kind of similar to the pen tool-ish type thing. I also I like how the 5 subdivisions of each cell get highlighted on hover in the CtC editor tool. That's something I might want to replicate. All right, but at least this is quite a bit cleaner now. So maybe we can get rid of some of this stuff. I'm just wondering right now if I should actually create a class and inherit from it. Inheritance in JavaScript is a bit of a pain in the ass. I mean, this is a clear case for inheritance, actually. It's such a clear case for inheritance. I mean, I could just have one object type and then just pass in bundles of handlers, but where do I put the bundles of handlers? That's basically what the subclasses are for, right? I'll probably want to compare how similar these are. Like these I think are identical. Like handle add is identical. All right, my brain is slowing down, so I'm probably gonna take a break here. But yeah, it probably makes sense to have a section class and then inherit from that, and same with the editables, right? Have an editable class, inherit from that. not something I'm gonna worry about it. Actually, one thing I could quickly do is I could just dump these into like external functions, maybe. 1 second. Let me just see if I can do this in a better way. So if I go to section cage and look at update UI, and then I go to section lines and I look at update UI, are these identical? I think they are, right? So I could do something like const section update UI equals function. And then I can just put this in here. No, I could probably do something like this. Right? And then I would say this is equal to that. And then this is deprecated. And I'll try the same thing down here and see if that works. Right? So now F. How did the F get in there? Right, boom. Seems to update. Right, now I go back to lines. That seems to work too. And then I go back to cages. It seems to work too. So that's quite a... But you see in JavaScript, you know, prototypical inheritance and class-based inheritance, it's such a fussy thing that, you know, this is kind of what classes do, more or less, right? Handle component change. Yeah, so this is where you start having the differences. Handle add, update UI, components class. So, I mean, I could do something similar here, right? So I could say section UI and we'll add. And then I could have something like this. And I think the first 3 lines are basically identical up to this part. No, actually that's the same even, so that's actually all the same. Yeah. So then I think I can just do this. So add, do something with it, change, add, then go back to cages. All right. And I guess we can do this with the other ones as well. Good. GUI element. That's actually the one. Well, there's a lot in common, but that's also the one where I want to have the most control. Render doesn't really. Component change. Handle component change. Yeah, so this is that part. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can repeat this little shtick. We basically get up to here. So we could basically do dot call this, and then we'll just do that part. Puzzle is not defined. Puzzle. Puzzle. not defined. 1, 2, 1 to 4? Oh. Alright, that's actually nothing to do with what I want to do. Component not defined. Oh. Alright, alright. Don't be so pedantic. Component is not defined. Oh. Component element.value. If I do this, all right, and back to cages. All right. Not super great, to be honest. So it might not really be worth doing this, but we'll see. We'll see. But here, I definitely know that I can do this and have a good solid start. And then this goes into the parent class eventually, right? And render, there's some commonalities, but no, actually there aren't. It's just I haven't actually done rendering yet for lines. All right. It's a solid foundation. We're starting to get into it. I don't think I'll do the other sections until I've kind of worked out exactly what I want to subclass here and all that stuff. We definitely want the editable lines because that's like the hardest sort of rendering part. The overlays and underlays we can probably more or less manage in the UI here. You don't need any drawing there. And then we can, well, actually, I think I want to go feature complete before I start cleaning up how the UI works. Because like, I don't like the fact that I click here and it destroys the cage, right? And how undo and redo works and all that stuff. So I think that's something we'll do after we've implemented all the features and the editor is technically usable. I mean, this is not going to be a crazy, super polished product. This is going to be an evolving sort of toolkit to improve on what's already there. I mean, I've considered like doing something like a Kickstarter, but I don't think I have the support right now to make that work. But maybe in the future. All right, I'm gonna take a lunch break and I'll see, maybe I'll take a break from this in the afternoon. I don't know if I have time to work on this stuff. I might have to do it off stream. Actually, let's have a quick look at some of the other tasks I've been pushing along. Let's have a look here, because now we're working on this, right? The layout is still to be done, so I think I'm going to put that back into the voting queue. And that's not currently being worked on. Well, our page intro, no. Let's get rid of that. Sort by votes and see what's, so most improved layout is still the highest, and then a diagonal pen tool, which I think Mark has done some work on. Where is that? I think, or is he working? Yeah, no, that's the diagonal one. I think this has the, so if I do this, okay, so he just does 8 directions basically. Yeah, so that's kind of one of the issues why, you know, I want to go over and up or diagonal and down. Oh, then I have to kind of go around, otherwise it just switches. The cutoff is, I think, when you go over a certain percentage towards the goal, but the percentage is less than 50. And it changes, like if I pass over and then go back, like if I go over, yeah, it's a bit, I think that would need some tuning for the diagonal tool to feel really comfortable. Did he do diagonal? He doesn't do diagonal on edge lines, interesting. So only on the center lines. So I think it might be worthwhile to split the center and edge lines first before and then it should probably be on a toggle anyways. And then also deleting things is going to be more of a pain in the ass because there's so many different places where the lines can go. Okay, wait, that's weird. Why did it not start delete mode there? That's strange. All right. Anyway, that's a little preview of things to come. In the meantime, yep. You can find me in the usual places: patreon.svencodes.com, twitter.svencodes.com, steam.svencodes.com, ios.svencodes.com, android.svencodes.com. I'm on the Cracking the Cryptic Discord, and on the Sudoku Solver Discord, and on the Sudoku Skunkworks Discord. You can reach me there. And that's it. In the meantime, I'd appreciate your subscribes on this YouTube channel because I'm trying to get over 100 to get a nice channel name. That's the kind of minimum I have to reach. 66 shouldn't take long. And any support you can give vis-a-vis SudokuPad on Android, iOS, and Steam, or on my Patreon, very much appreciated. It helps keep the lights on. Take care. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.